Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the French Tier 10 medium tank, the Bat Chatillon 25T, also known as the Bat Chat. So is it any good? Yes, it's a very good tank. That said, it does require a skilled driver to play it well, and I'm not really a skilled driver of the Bat Chat. I probably need to play the tank more consistently to get good at it, but I do recognise that it is a very good tank. Now it has 1800 hit points, which is the lowest of any tier 10 medium. The next worst is 1900 and the best is the E50M German with 2050 hit points, so it's very low. Weighing in at 25 to 26 ton, it is the lightest tier 10 medium by a long way. Do not under any circumstances ram anybody. You'll come off worse for wear. Now it is a very fast tank though. It has the equal fastest 65 kilometers an hour in forward. It shares that with the Leopard, although I think it's probably accelerates more quickly than the Leopard. Also has a reverse speed of 23 kilometers an hour, which is pretty darn fast. Also shares that with the Leopard. All the others do 20 kilometers an hour in reverse, so it's a very fast tank. However, do not let all that speed fool you. It's not a maneuverable tank. The track traverse of 42 degrees per second is actually the worst in class. The best is the T62A with 56 degrees, and the next best is the Leopard with 54. So the Leopard has the speed and the maneuverability, whereas the Bat Chat just has the speed. Now the turret traverse of 39 to 40 degrees a second is kind of poor. The best is the T62A with 50 degrees a second, and the worst is the E50M with 31 degrees a second. Now, the view range of 400 is the equal worst, although it shares that with about half of the other tier 10 mediums. The Leopard, the FV4202 and the STB1 all have 410 meter view range, and the premium M60 has 420, as does the M48 Patton. So they have truly excellent view range, but it does scout well, and with binoculars fitted, my view range is further than my draw distance, so it's quite good. The signal range of 750 is average for a tier 10 medium, and the camouflage rating on this tank is very, very good indeed, and that's one of its roles. It can scout very well because it has good camouflage. It's quite a low profile tank, although it's not as low profile as the Object 430, which actually has the best camouflage. This tank has the second best camouflage in class. The gun depression is poor at -6 degrees, although a lot of the tanks at this tier do have sort of pretty poor gun depression, around a 5 to 6 degree mark, although the 121 is terrible with only 3 degrees of gun depression. However, the Leopard, M60, M48 Patton, STB1 and the FV4202 all have from 9 to 10 degrees gun depression. So if you're looking for hill fighters, this isn't the tank. Its gun elevation is also very poor at 11 degrees and is the worst in class, so the gun lacks flexibility. Speaking of guns, we can actually go and have a look at the grind, and there is actually a grind for this tank, which is unusual for a tier 10. You don't start with the top gun, you start with this gun, which is the gun you would have unlocked on the Lorraine, and you can't actually unlock the Bat Chat without actually grinding through that gun anyway, so you will start with this gun. And it is kind of a choice. You can choose to keep using that gun. It does have some advantages. So you've basically got the 100mm gun off the Lorraine or the 105 top gun for the Bat Chat. Now the 100mm has 6 shells in the magazine, whereas 105mm only has 5 shells in the magazine. It took me a while to get used to that because all of the previous French autoloaders had 6 shells, and I kind of got to the point where I just counted in my head and I just knew. I found quite a few times when I first started driving this tank, I thought I had another shot and I didn't. Now the time between shots is exactly the same, 2.73 seconds between shots, so if you're used to using it on the Lorraine, it's exactly the same. However, the loading time of the magazine was 36 seconds on the Lorraine, which was horrific. Well, now it's 40, which is absolutely terrible, and it's a real problem. You fire 5 shots and then you've basically just got to hide for 40 seconds. It's a long time. And it also reduces the amount of damage you can get done because you just can't keep firing at tanks. Now, 232mm of penetration on the 100mm and an average damage of 300, which is very, very good, of course. Now 259mm of penetration for the Bat Chat, which is really, really good, and it does 390 average damage per shot. For me, that was the clincher, was the 390 damage, and it helps to have the extra penetration. So I ended up using this gun predominantly, but you could decide to use the gun off the range because it has the extra shot, so I guess that kind of covers you for the amount of damage you're doing. However, you do lose a bit of penetration, and the accuracy though is also better at 0.36 versus 0.38, although they're still both not accurate. In my opinion, that 0.36 is more like a 0.38, and the 0.38 on this gun is more like about a 0.4 or 0.42. It's not an accurate gun. They both have terrible aiming times though of 2.7 seconds, and it's a real problem with this tank. A gun that has poor accuracy with a long aim time means that forget shooting at long range. Quite a few times I've fired 5 fully aimed shots at long range and they all miss the target completely. So the accuracy on the gun is horrific, and you'll just find shooting at long range that even if you hit one, you may bounce and your whole clip's gone. You've got to wait 40 seconds for reload and you've done no damage. Firing at long range is a disaster in this tank. You really need to be medium and ideally very close. Also, shooting on the move in this tank is really bad. The gun has poor depression and elevation, so going over bumps means sometimes you just can't get your gun to point at the enemy. And then the accuracy on the move is really, really bad. Vertical stabilizers would be a big help, of course, but yeah, it's pretty darn bad. So yeah, it's a big failing of the tank. The other one is the turret does get locked quite frequently, not as frequently as the Lorraine, but it does still get locked, so definitely carry a repair kit. I carry a small, large, and a large first aid kit as well. No problems with fires on this tank though, very rarely catches fire. What else can I tell you about it? Basically, great scout tank. Hide, and I've found I do best in this tank when I kind of hide and snipe at the start of the game, just taking shots of opportunity, and then to the middle to late stages of the game when other tanks are damaged, you can basically just drive up behind people, pump them full of shots and finish them off. It's great. It's a great finishing off tank, but not a great tank to try and get into brawls with at the start of the game when people have health, a lot of health, because you just can't trade shots. It has no armor. Speaking of that, let's get into Tank Inspector, have a look at the armor, and then get into some gameplay. I forgot to mention my crew skills that you'll be seeing in the gameplay. My commander has 6th sense, which is essential in this tank, and he's 100% in camouflage, also essential in this tank, and he's currently training situational awareness to increase the view range. Now that's a radio operator skill because the commander does the radio operator skills in his tank. The next guy, whatever he is, Gunner, has camouflage 100% and he's almost fully skilled on repairs. And the driver here has 100% camouflage and he's working 98% on clutch braking, which is to try and get around the poor track traverse on this tank. So we'll have a quick look at the armour of the Bat Chatillon Tank Inspector. I won't spend long because there's not really much to tell. Colorized view, you can see that the lower plate here and a big panel here of the upper plate is 50mm thick. The rest of the upper plate is 60mm thick, which look is pretty terrible. This driver's viewport here is 50. The front of the turret here is 70mm. This little section in the middle is 30. Upper part of the turret is 50mm, and the cupola is 45mm. The gun mantlet is only 45mm and is not doesn't have anything behind it. The rest of the turret, the rear and side of the turret is 50mm, sorry, of the turret mechanism, and the actual turret itself is 30mm. The rear and top of the turret is 15mm, so and this top deck here is also 15mm, so any artillery hitting you is almost guaranteed to one-shot kill you. The rear is 30mm as well, so you don't want to get spotted at the start of the game where artillery can hit you, because if they do, even splash damage can annihilate you. There is a saving, there's a bit of spaced armor here by the way, which is 20mm over 60. The saving grace of this tank though is the track here. It doesn't have cutouts in it like some of the HD models have cutouts in the track where there's spaces. It is like a full panel of track, with 40 millimeters, 15 millimeters over 40 millimeters. So even though it's only 15 millimeters for the track, it's surprising when you look, say, at this, that the track is a ricochet. So it's a kind of a really weird thing. And even here, it says NA, not applicable. So it's just track. So it's fairly often in this tank, surprisingly often, the tracks will eat the shot. And I'm sure many of you have cursed when shooting in a back chat and just getting track damage. Even though using a big gun you get no damage. And it's part of this, I think the reason is this NA here. Like not applicable. What the hell does that mean? It's not applicable. And even shooting the side of the tracks quite often does nothing. Alright, let's get into the gameplay.
Time to roll out.
Okay, so it's a tier 10 match, of course, and we're in our tier 10 French medium tank Bat Chat. Now, it's about 9 or 10 tier 10 tanks on each team, and all the rest are tier 9s, so it's a pretty high level game. I'm going to the hill to see if I can do a bit of scouting. As you can see, the tank is seriously fast. We're doing the 65 kilometers an hour that the tank does across undulating terrain. It really is quite powerful and very, very fast. Even goes up hills quite quickly, as you'll see here. Okay, we've slowed down to 22, but that's not bad. It is a steep hill, and it is it's not paved or anything. I see this object 140, so decide to see if I can get a sneaky shot off. But no luck. There's too many buildings in the way, so I decided to push up now and try and get some early spots off on the hill if anyone's trying to push up here, which is what I wanted to do at the start. Now the enemy has one artillery, a tier 10 artillery, and we have to watch out for that because we have basically no armor. Now Leopard 1 has put in the notes there, don't rush. And I'm being aware of that, and I'm hanging back. I'm really just here at the moment to spot anybody who's going to pop up onto the hill while waiting for the rest of my tanks to arrive, the heavies to arrive. If I rush forward now, the trouble is with getting spotted in the back chat at the start of the game. If you rush forward, there's a leopard. Aim, 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 aim. And you can see there the long aim time. Took ages to aim. And then when I did fire, it went nowhere near him. I probably fired just before it had finished aiming because he was moving away. Poor accuracy combined with poor aim times means that if it's not fully aimed, it's just going to miss. And it takes a long time to aim. And you do miss a lot of opportunity shots like that. Whereas, say, in a tank like, you know, a Leopard or something, you would have got that shot off. So I've only got 3 shots left in my clip now. So this is one of the things you sort of... You try and fire, you know, without fully aiming like that, and you just waste your shots, and now you've only got 3 shots left in your clip. So it is a bit of a drama. But anyway, I move forward now because I just really want to spot these guys as soon as they pop over the ridge, so that my heavies can shoot at them. So now in this game, oh hang on, I'll be quiet because we've got this E100 popping over the ridge now. There's no point in me shooting anything except his lower plate. So I wait for him to come up a bit, but I thought I was going to get a shot at his lower plate, but I haven't got it. We might be able to track him even. And we fire, then we do get a shot into his lower plate. We did 409 damage, which is good. And I do have 6 Sense fitted, so you can see there that I wasn't even spotted. Take a shot at the leopard there. That shot actually went into the dirt. And it's not long range. This guy's 127 meters. And that shot there aimed at his lower plate, but it hit his upper plate and bounced. So you can see that the accuracy of the gun isn't good, even at 125 meters that shot was. And I have had a game where I'm reloading my clip now, by the way, where I missed, I think, 3 shots from 150, completely missed the tank at 150 meters. So sometimes the accuracy does really play up. Now my loading time of my clip is 38.31 seconds. My crew is fully trained. I have vents fitted. And so that's the sort of aiming time, loading time for the clip you can expect with a fully trained crew with vents. Now I have my tank set up for clan wars, and in clan wars I tend to be a passive scout. So that is why, here we go, lower plate, and we've got another shot in. Oh, he's on low health now. And that's why I have binoculars and camouflage net fitted. That would not be my recommended fit out for random matches such as this. For random matches such as this, I would say the best fit out would be probably vents, then vertical stabilizer to increase accuracy on the move by 20%, and will reduce the aim time once your turret's moved. And once again, there, slow aim time, we can't get the shot off. And the other thing I would get would be the gun laying drive to speed up the aim time as well, because the aim time really cripples this tank at anything except very close range. I'm going to speed up the game here now to 4 times. Oh, no, slow down again. I'll speed it up again 4 times. So I don't want to turn my gun to the people in the town there, because I'm worried that I will miss the opportunity to shoot someone coming up the hill. So I have 4 rounds in my clip, and it looked like he was going to pop up the leopard, but he didn't. I might slow it down to normal speed because it looks like he might pop up. I'll go to 2 times again. And to 4 times again. He doesn't seem to be popped up. There he is. Okay, slow it down. There you go. So he popped up, we got a shot into him. And then someone else managed to finish him off. And now we've got an ST1 here. Oh, get out of my way. Here we go. That shot goes true. Pretty lucky actually with that shot. And if my teammate gets out of the way, yeah, okay, had to just pop the shot. I've got 1 round left, but I can see this E100 coming for me, and miraculously my tracks eat the shot. I'm just going to go for it. So using my maneuverability, you can see there that E75 just missed me. I know the E100's fired, so I'm taking my time. I can't get the gun depression, so I have to move. I'm just going to take my time and finish it. The E75's now after me, and now I'm going to run. He hits me in the back and does no damage. How lucky was I? He rams me though and does 277 damage to move the ram. And to him, I did 21 points of damage. So you can see what I mean about the weight of this tank. Don't ram people. It's pointless. So I'm just running now. This time he hits me and does damage. And he's hit my ammo rack. But that should affect the time between my shots, but not the actual loading of the drum. The drum is still loading at normal. I know, it does affect the loading of the drum. It's going up to 76 seconds. But while I'm running, it's still loading. And one of my teammates managed to get rid of that E75. So we've now fully loaded, almost fully loaded our gun. I'm not bothering to repair that because, actually no, I did just repair that, which was probably a bit silly. Anyway, we now have a fully loaded gun again. So I took a bit of a risk there, but that's the sort of thing you can kind of do with a Bat Chat. I took a bit too much of a risk, but you can kind of do that where you can just drive down and take shots. Now in that circumstance, I only had 1 shot in my magazine when I did it, which was probably a bit silly of me. You should only do that really if you've got a full clip. Then I could have taken on the E75 as well instead of just having to run. I could have probably just circled it. Alright, now I thought artillery might have been up here. I'm going to speed this up because I thought artillery was up here, but artillery's not up here. It was a bit silly of me really. I just tracked myself by turning as I jumped. Now, slowing back down to normal speed as I crest over here. And this is where the Bat Chat's really good. Is this point of the game where it's getting late in the game, enemy tanks are damaged, and you can sort of use your speed and stealth. So like for here, the Object 140 is sort of sitting there just sort of waiting for someone to get spotted, whereas I decided to go out and now do the spotting. So making sure I don't go through the cap circle. You can see that you can actually avoid it unless you've got a really big tank. And what I'm going to try and do now, see if I can spot, maybe take out the artillery or spot one of the TDs. And we have managed to spot an E100. Get 1 shot. 2 shots into him now. The enemy Bat Bat Chat shoots me. I can't even see where he is, but he managed to shoot me. Get some shots into this 215B. And my clip is now empty, but someone else finished that tank off. Fantastic. The only thing they have left now is their gun carrier. You know, I was hit by a Bat Chat. I'm wondering if that was my Bat Chat. Anyway, I'm looking for Artie. There he is. I do something very foolish. I drive right up to him, and it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. My own artillery is going to kill me. So yes, foolish me. I had no guns in my clip. I drove right up to the enemy artillery, and that was really stupid of me, because it was obviously that I was going to get at least damage by our own artillery, splash damage. I just thought, oh, I better drive up behind him because in case he tries to shoot me while I reload. But there's no way he was going to be alive by the time I reload. I should have just taken off. Anyway, my own fault. The guy actually contacted me in private chat to apologise for killing me, and I said to him, look, it was my fault, and I apologised for him for ended up getting him a -1. Anyway, not a bad game, and we didn't get any medals or anything, but it was a class 2 game, which is not bad. So we finished 3rd on our team for experience, which is not too bad, and doing a bit of damage. Yeah, not a bad game. Now we can see here we fired 15 shots, 10 of those hit. Of the 10 that hit, 9 penetrated. So the penetration on the gun is quite good. It's really the accuracy that's lacking. We did 3,345 damage, which is quite respectable. 728 of that was from a distance of 300 meters, so most of it was fairly close range. We received 4 hits, all of those penetrated, because as we know, the armor is terrible. Although it says all penetrated, but we actually bounced 2 of them, so I'd say 2 of them obviously eaten by our tracks. We were lucky in the extreme, considering what was firing at us. We spotted 2 vehicles. We damaged 6, destroying 1 of them, and we also did 2,245 spotting damage. A fair bit of that would have been at the end of the game there. So, yeah, that is one of the good things about this tank, is that you can do a fair bit of spotting and get your earnings up. We received 61,000 credits. We got 12,000 compensation. Sorry about that. So for us up to 73,000. Now, the repair cost of the vehicle is 24,000, so it's fairly pricey, but the ammunition is also pretty pricey. So we ended up with 31,000 profit, but that's pretty good, really, for a tier 10 tank. I tend not to make much money in tier 10s. We received 1,009 XP, which is enough for a class 2. So class 1 is hard to get in the Bat Chat. You need quite a bit of XP. Next game.
Time to roll out.
So the map is South Coast. Once again, in our tier 10 Bat Chat. There's about 6 tier 10s on the enemy team, bunch of tier 9s and some tier 8s as well. I decided to be more aggressive this time, so rather than starting off just spotting at the start of the game, I decided to take a fairly aggressive position and play more of a sort of a traditional medium position. So using the speed of the Bat Chat, as you can see, I'm able to get to a good position, keeping up with the 1390 there. And our gun has almost loaded by the time we get here. There's an object 140 sitting right there. My gun has loaded right on time, and here we go. I bounce the first shot on the front of him, get one into the side. Oh, he shoots one at me, and I ricochet it. A miracle. Sometimes you can be lucky. Still got 2 shots left, so let's see. One into him there. That one bounced the angle just before I shot him. A T-54 shoots at me, and my tracks eat it. Okay, this time I do get hit by a Type 62 from behind, which does 175 damage, but I was extremely lucky with those other 2. I am now reloading, so I move to a relatively safe position to reload. And my teammates finish off the Object 140, so a good start to the game in that respect. So still just waiting to reload, almost reloaded, and now we're reloaded. So one thing about an autoloader, if you decide to use premium ammunition, you do have to load your whole clip with premium ammunition. So you're going to have 5 shots of premium ammo to use, which can be expensive. So I tend, and you can't really preload because it takes 40 seconds to load.
Critical hit.
So we bounce off that tank there. So sometimes if you do get a bit unlucky, at least we're hitting him.
Enemy armor is damaged.
I decide now to go. I see that this Os Panther is on low health, so I decide to hit him to try and take him out. And someone else takes out the other tank, so that was a really good result. I've got 1 shot left in my gun, and I see this leopard. Yep, we get a shot into him, and we track him. So good result. And now I've got to reload. I'm trying to maneuver to get out of the way, but Object 140 is kind of blocking me from turning. It does have pretty poor turning ability, this tank. Okay, now I can move. I didn't mean to bump him though. That was accidental. So we've already done over 2,000 damage. So it's been a really good start to the game. Quite a good position, this tank, for lights or mediums to get into if you can get here. I decide now to there's not much more I can do from here, so I decide to get moving and see if we can do something. Now, because we've got the speed, I don't really want to take on the mouse, the T110E5 and those over there. The mouse is almost at full health. So I want to do something different. I want to be somewhere where no one else is. I decide at this stage now I'm going to try and do an artillery run and see if I can take out their arty, who I think might be up at the back of their base. Now we spot here the Object 704, so straight away side opportunity, can't pass it up. Get 2 shots on his side. He's now aiming at me and puts a big shot on him with 729. That one bounces. I'm now carefully aiming his lower plate and managed to finish him off. My gun is now empty though, and I have to reload, which is 38.31 seconds with my current crew training. Vents are fitted. Artillery isn't here, which is probably fortunate since I now have no ammunition in my gun. I see that one of the guys has started capping, so I decide to just get on the cap too while I'm reloading, just to put a bit of pressure on the enemy team. Then I realise that we are annihilating the enemy team. We've only lost 2 tanks and they've only got 4 tanks left. So I decide, no, I'm not going to cap, my gun's loaded, I'm just going to go out and see if I can shoot something else. So I'm just going to speed it up to 2 times here while I'm moving into position. It does have the speed to be able to move out and try and get shots and do things like this. So I'm just going to speed up to normal speed now. We're 84% capped with 3 on cap. The game's going to end. I hope I can get a shot off. E5 is their last tank remaining. I hit his upper plate, didn't pen, so I'm aiming for his roof, and that shot goes in just as we capture the base. Whew, that was lucky. So a class 2 game. As I said, I'm not a great driver of the Bat Chat, so take what I do with a grain of salt. There's people out there who play it much better than I do. But we did okay. So we finished 3rd for XP. We did good damage though. In fact, looks like we did the most damage on our team. Actually, it looks like we did the most damage out of anyone in the game. But it wasn't enough to get a high caliber, so it mustn't have been, didn't cross that threshold. Oh well. Next screen, and we fired 17 shots, 16 of those hit, so mostly quite close range shooting. And of the 16 that hit, 12 penetrated. We did get a few bounces there. Now we did 4,024 damage, which is pretty good, and a small amount of that actually was 10%. It was from a distance of over 300 meters. We received 5 hits, 4 penetrations, 1 bounced. I think we also had one of those 4 that's counted as a pen was a track, did eat it. It's funny though, the tracks take up a big part of the side of the tank, so you do get a bit of the tracks eating damage with this tank, which is pretty lucky. We spotted one, damaging 6 tanks, destroying 3, which is a really good result, I think. Damage caused, assistance damage was 376, which is a little low for the Bat Chat, but we weren't really doing a spotting role, we were doing more of a traditional medium tank role. Income of 61,000 is really nice, and we didn't fire any premium ammunition, and our profit was 24,000. 902 XP was enough for a class 2. Thank you. Thank you for watching my review of the Bat Chat. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.